What are the global giants in the world? What are the problems that affect billions of people, not millions of people? Spiritual emptiness, self-centered leadership, poverty, disease, illiteracy. There aren't enough doctors to solve all the issues in the world. There aren't enough teachers to solve all the issues in the world, and there aren't enough missionaries to solve all the issues in the world. But there is an enormous pool of untapped talent and brains and energy and relationships that are sitting unused in churches every week. What are the antidotes to these 5 global giants? Plant churches. Equip servant leaders. Assist the poor. Care for the sick. Educate the next generation. Peace is a grassroots, church-to-church strategy. Your church hooks up with another church overseas, and that church overseas hooks up with another church in another country. Every church is a sending and receiving church. It's a lay movement designed to mobilize average church members to do normal tasks that can make a difference in the world. Ordinary people, empowered by God, making a difference together wherever they are. The greatest need in the 21st century is to release the pent-up, latent power of the average believer in churches local around the world. If we can figure out a way to turn an audience into an army, can turn consumers into contributors, to turn spectators into participators, it will change the world. It's time to stop debating and start doing. It's time for the church to be known for love, not for legalism, for what we're for, not for what we're against. It's time for the church to be the church.
All right, and our viewers, we are so we want to apologize for the technical problem that we have encountered. We are actually back now, and we are going to continue. Isaac was actually the one that was making his own points very clear, so we would continue with our discussion. Hopefully Jerry is going to join us as we continue. Now, hey guys, this is what we'll do. You would help us to Can you mute your systems? Until maybe you want to make a point, then you can go ahead and just kind of put it and unmute it, and then you can make your point. So, Bro Isaac, you can continue from here. We've been talking about, the state of Nigeria at 61 years of independence. Nigeria is our country. We are from there, blessed nation, and we are proud, citizens of that nation, and we want to see that nation thrive and prospers as a nation that reflects the God-given blessings that is in it. And so we are going to continue with our discussion. We've been talking about the state of the nation historically, and then connecting with the contemporary times that we are in. And we have transitioned to talk about the way forward, right? And so our viewers, my friends and my colleagues here have been talking about the way forward. Now, how do we go about it? What should be the responsibility of the church? What should be the responsibility of government? What should be the responsibility of leaders, in different levels? And then what should be the responsibility of every citizen of that nation? All right, so Isaac has been the one talking, and then unfortunately, we had a technical problem. So, Isaac, you can go ahead and continue to make your point.
Okay, thank you. Let me just put it succinct. What I'm saying is that if we want a way forward, we have to make sure the law works. Second, the church, the mosque, and the homes must be alive to their responsibility. What I mean by that is that they should, their responsibility of training, their responsibility of discipleship, and their responsibility of accountability. The homes, the church, and the mosque, and every religious places must be alive to that if we are going to see a shift in the situation of Nigeria. And what I mean by that, let me start with the rule of law, is that we have a nation whereby anybody does anything. The law is meant for the poor. The law is not meant for the rich. So, and because the law is not meant for the rich can do anything. So invariably, you are telling the oppressed, which are the poor, that see, if you want to evade the law, all you need to do is to look for every opportunity to be rich. So by the time those people understand that, what they do also is to look for an avenue to embezzle money, to steal money, to go into corruption, to go into fraud and all the likes. And they know that when they get the money, they are going to evade the law. And that's the situation we have in the country. If we have politicians that think that they are above the law, then we are doomed. If we have leaders, permanent secretaries, civil servants that think that they are above the law, we are doomed. But if we have a situation whereby maybe we've jailed like presidents who have embezzled money, we've jailed governors who have embezzled money, we've jailed commissioners, ministers, and civil servants who have embezzled money, that will serve as a pointer to other people that, well, this is the law, and the law is not bendable now. The law is strict. Either you are rich, you are poor, then I tell you, people are going to conform. But when we begin to think that, okay, the law is for some people, then it's going to create a kind of chaos. And that's what we are having in our security apparatus that I was talking about the other time. Those guys knows that the law doesn't work, and that's why they are messing up with the security situation in Nigeria. We're in a situation whereby we have a news that there are some people that are sponsoring terrorism. Why is it that the government don't want to mention them? Why is it that the government don't want to try them? If the government did not try them, will other people not continue to do the same? So if we know all these things and the rule of law works, I believe strongly that we are going to have a better nation. Then the same goes to our mentality. The church has to change our mentality. I'm telling you, we are also in a situation in the church right now, and in even among the Muslims, in all religion in Nigeria right now, where I see people celebrating those that have over those who have not. And it makes those who have not to look inward and think that God is against them and God is not for them. Before you know it, those who have not will do everything in their power to have, so that they are going to be recognized, so that they are going to be known by the community and the church. So if the church can change their mentality and begin to preach the message of contentment, like they normally preach when we are very young, and we begin to talk about discipleship, we need to talk about our core values as Christians. What do the Church of God stand for? What do the families stand for? Our families, we begin to change their mentality among the kids, the teenagers, the youth. I believe we are going to get there. I believe gradually, because it's not a day job. I tell you, the mind of a lot of youth in Nigeria is messed up now. It's going to take years for us to get there, because the mentality people have in Nigeria is they so much believe in what you have, your material possession. Unfortunately, even among Christians, we so much believe in what you have, your material possession, not about your heart, not about your piety, not about your character, your habit, your lifestyle. They are not after that again. It is about what you can show to the community. And that is why we have this attitude of domination I am better than you, and you're better than me. It's within the church. And even check everywhere you see Nigerians, they have that attitude in them. They want to be better than other people. That oppressive tendency is there. And unless we regenerate, we allow the scriptures to change our heart, like the Bible says, washing of water by the word. Unless we allow the word of God wash us from within to without, I don't think we can get to where we want to get to. I'm talking about the role of the church now. The church should be a place where character is being molded. The home should be a place where character is being molded. But when we lose those values, these are the kind of things we begin to see, in Nigeria. I pray that the Lord would help His church, the Lord would help our nation, and the Lord would raise somebody, to help us, to help the situation of our country.
Amen.
Thank you, God.
Yeah, thank you, brother. Those are wonderful points. Hey, Cephas, I know you have been, yawning. You have been, yeah, you want to say something. Yeah, let's hear you. What do you think? A way forward, and what would be some of your prayers and your wishes for our nation, Nigeria, at 61?
Okay, thank you very much. I want to make as I move forward to that, I see that there are some fundamental problems that are like the roots of the Nigerian problem. And the very first amongst them is moral corruption, which is a sense that the conscience, the Nigerian conscience and sense of right and wrong has been shattered. The Nigerian mind is corrupt, not in the sense of only stealing money or embezzling money, but deep down the moral crux of the Nigerian mind, there is a sense of deadness that exists there. That I think that we have a generation of Nigerians that is genuinely corrupt. And what do I mean by that? I mean Nigerians that are corrupt but do not even know that they are corrupt. Our sense of rights and wrong has been changed. It has been thwarted. It has been destroyed. Just like Paul will write to Timothy in, I think in 2 Timothy chapter 3, that their consciences have been cauterized. Just, like you have a blister in your hand that gets old and you no longer feel anything.
That's right.
For example, does it take, and for me, this is the strongest argument for the problem that we have in Nigeria. Because before any politician became a politician, he was a common Nigerian. Before any leader became a leader, he was a common Nigerian. Before any pastor became a pastor, he was a common Nigerian. What every leader is exhibiting in leadership is a moral system that they already have.
That's right.
So the system only gave them the platform, the authority, the freedom to practice who really they are. And it is at that point that I connect strongly to the point that Ali was making from Romans chapter 1, that talks about people seeing the truth of God and denying it. For example, do we need a leader to obey traffic lights? We don't need a leader.
That's right.
We only need the mind. We only need the morality to do it. Does a lecturer need a leader to make him not to collect bribe? No. He needs the conscience to do the right thing. So if you want to check the real Nigerian problem, just go on the Nigerian street. Women are denting majors and cheating each other in the market. If you want to see how impatient, selfish, and greedy the Nigerian mind is, go to the traffic. When you wait a little bit just to get a little clearance so you don't have an accident, somebody is in a hurry to enter. Nobody wants to wait for you. Everybody wants to go in front. What is wrong? Our values, the Nigerian values are sick. The Nigerian values, we need a rebranding. We need a rebranding that if we do not have people that their minds have been transformed, they've been changed. And what Romans says, right, in chapter 12, we should be transformed by the renewal of our mind. So what we need in Nigeria is the renewal of the Nigerian mind. And it is a very difficult thing because for me, I have been pessimistic sometimes. I've even said that for us to have a new Nigeria, we should remove everybody and bring a new set of Nigerians that think differently. Because the Nigerian mind from birth, we grow up into, there is something in drug addiction that is called a drug culture. A drug culture is when an individual grows up within a system that the abuse of drug is a normal way of life. That the only way of life they know is how to abuse drugs. So that the life without the abuse of drugs is the strange life. Right now in Nigeria, we have people, generations and millions that do not even know what it means to not be corrupt. Because the system just grows people like that.
Yeah.
And the poor values, that is our major problem in Nigeria, poor values. And we lack a sense of nationality and patriotism. We do not love, Nigerians do not love Nigeria. And when I say Nigerians here, many people will think I'm talking about the followership. No, every Nigerian, including the leaders. Right now in my workplace, if I would cheat on declaring my taxes, my supervisor is going to reprimand me. My supervisor is not the president. He is not the tax officer. My supervisor is not the governor of this state. My supervisor just checks to make sure that I do my work. But if I cheat by not declaring taxes well, it is going to show my supervisor, hey, this person wants to cheat my nation. I am not going to allow them to do that. We don't love our country. I was in a hall of over 500 people. A group was singing the national anthem and nobody stood up. I was standing outside and they were inside. Nobody stood up. When I visited Kenya in 2017, 6 p.m., our tour guides in Kenya, we just saw that they just stopped walking and they just stood still. And I said, and the Nigerians, we continued walking. And they said, hey guys, you have to stop. The rule in Kenya is that the Kenyan flag doesn't sleep standing. By 6 p.m., they bring down the Kenyan flag. And when it is 6 p.m., wherever you are, whether the Kenyan flag is there or not, you are going to stand for approximately the minutes that the flag will come down. So when this guy was bringing down the Kenyan flag, we all had to stand. Many Nigerians do not know how to sing the Nigerian national anthem. Many Nigerians do not feel a sense of obligation to love this country, including the worst is our leaders. We don't love this nation.
Yeah.
We don't love this nation. But, you know, I remember one time in Nigeria, we were in a cab with a woman from America, and she saw a taxi driver with an American flag upside down. And she told her husband to park, that she is going to confront the man. That why would he put the American flag upside down? You know, So that sense of patriotism and national unity that we should have as a nation, people have allegiance to their cult, to their tribe, allegiance to their religion. In fact, that is the worst one. People obey the Sharia law more than they obey the Nigerian constitution, because that is the supreme one to them. So that anything like Nigeria does not exist in the minds of people. To many people, Nigeria is just a location. It is not a nation for us to build and to make better. And then the last, for me, is the problem, the failure of governance. When the Lord was instructing Noah on the protection of life, that the person that takes a life, with a life he shall pay. That was not only about capital punishment. If we read from Exodus, from Genesis, from chapter 10 all the way forward, it was God's intention of establishing a system of justice and protection of human life.
That's right.
The government is supposed to enforce. In Romans chapter 13, 1 Peter chapter 2, you see that, what were they saying? Government was established to punish evil and reward good. Is that what we see? But what we see right now in Nigeria is the reversal of morality. That good is now evil and evil is now good. If you don't want to pay bribes in Nigeria, you are the wrong one. The government rewards. I mean, just take, for example, the herdsmen, right? We see videos. The other day I was watching, I think, a House of Assembly member in somewhere in Katsina. When he was talking and crying, I shared the video on Facebook. I saw it. The Fulani herdsmen are walking around with sophisticated weapons, AK-47s, and killing people in the middle of the night, people that are helpless and sleeping in their beds. Do you know what? Nobody has the capability to arrest them. They are allowed to walk around. But this man said something. He said, the moment you try and arrest one and maybe kill him, this man said the government will come on you and it will take days and weeks to rescue anybody that was involved in that. So that, and it happens everywhere. We have seen it even in political parties. If you don't want your sins to be punished, switch party. So there is a reward for evil and something like a punishment for good, which is a direct contradiction to what God has planned for what government should be. Governance is supposed to reward good and punish evil.
That's right.
So that whoever, like my brother Isaac was saying, whoever breaks the law should be punished. But what we see today is that the high and the mighty, they break the law and they are fine. And then the low break the law and they are punished. So how do we move forward? In my view, there are two institutions that play key roles in the solutions to our problems in Nigeria. The first one is the family. I believe, and I agree with my brother Isaac, that the family is the number one place, because that is where you grow people. The problem of Nigeria is people. If today, the most thriving country in the world, any thriving country, if we remove all the people there and their values and take them to Nigeria, and remove all the Nigerians there and take them to that other thriving country, Nigerians will run it down. and those other people will make that country to prosper. So what should we do? Families are to do the work of growing people that have the right values.
That's right.
So in my view, if the family is not doing its work of instilling a sense of patriotism, a sense of the virtues of hard work, of justice, of accountability, we are not going to have people that will do the same when they are in leadership. And I think that with the family, we are able to grow people that think differently, because I mean, I am a bit pessimistic, because we have to take out a lot of people from the system and bring in people that think differently, that have another sense of values. Then I think that parents should be able to create that sense of, right now, children cannot even ask you why you do what you do. Now, many people have talked about it as a negative, that children of nowadays say why. But it is a good thing, because any action should have an explanation. It helps me as a parent to prepare an answer whenever my child is involved in something, because I know that my child is going to ask me. But the thing is this: if my child doesn't ask me, when he goes out and things are wrong in the system, my child cannot ask. Because my child has been taught to keep quiet. But when parents are able to explain actions, when the government is, and when children are able to ask questions from parents, and parents answer those questions, when the child goes out and their leader is doing something wrong, the parent can hold the child, the child can hold the leader accountable. The problem we have in Nigeria is that people are not able to hold the government accountable, because we have raised our children to be reclusive, to be submissive even to bad authority, which is actually ungodly.
Yeah.
So that sense of nationality is also learned at home. We try our best to teach our children how to love Nigeria. We try our best to do that, because that is the only place they will learn it. When we go to the red light, we stop. So that I am sad when someone has a child in their car and they break the law. Because they are equally teaching the child how to break the law. When they go to the red light, they don't stop. They zoom off. Because there's failure of leadership, they just zoom off. And the child is there watching. The child is learning that you don't have to stop when you go to the red light. And the second institution, for lack of time, is the church. For several years, the church has been distanced from the affairs of the nation. How so? Number one, the church has always believed that we have nothing to do with politics. But you see, the people that, and then secondly, the people that go into politics are from the church. There was a point in our history that over 100, close to 100 House of senators were from my denomination. I don't know how many Christians we have in the Senate and in the House of Reps. But if they are truly Christians, should we be saying what we are saying? So the church has the responsibility of discipling believers that will be believers in businesses, in the media, in the education sector, in the arts and entertainment, in politics and governance, in economics. The church has the work of discipling people to be Christians there. If we have a Christian as a politician, he is going to fight against corruption. If we have a Christian in fashion, he is going to only design decent clothes. If we have a Christian in the educational system, he will make sure that good curriculum is put. For example, just see what is happening. We don't even teach history in our country. We don't even teach history. People don't know our heritage. So how can people even love the country that they don't even know anything about? So the churches have the responsibility of discipling people that will go and be Christians in politics and live out the values of Christianity. The church has to encourage people to go into politics. The church has to also call the government to book.
That's right.
If you check all of the prophetic books, all of them, they are political books. Because the prophets were consistently working with the leaders, the civic leadership, telling them you were wrong in this, you were. Just check out, Ahab and Elijah. Just check out Jeremiah. In fact, the rebuilding of the wall, who did it? The prophet. See what Ezra did. You know, and all of these people in the book of Ezekiel, see, I mean, there are just so many examples of those. But today, our leaders, our religious leaders are afraid to talk to the government. How many church members does Redeemed Christian Church of God has? Equa, Baptist, Roman Catholic, Living Faith. These are millions. If, as an example, if 5 of these religious leaders will come out and make a single resolution, see, not even to talk of Khan, no, I've even removed Khan. Equa leader, together with Baptist leader, together with Redeemed Christian Church of God, together with, say, Living Faith and the rest. If they would come out together, right, and challenge the government on one thing, I'm telling you, the government will listen. Do you know what? Sunday Adelaja in Ukraine was acknowledged by the government because of the influence that he had in the city. But the church in Nigeria, how are we involved in the city? How are we involved in building schools, in fixing roads, in calling our legislators that are church members and telling them, hey, we hear that there is a legislation like this, like this, like this, like that. What is your position about it? What are you going to do about it? This is what we want you to do. This is the godly thing to do. This is the one that is in accordance with our faith. And they go and do it. So, how involved are we in those areas? Or we're just aloof. We just stay aloof. Whatever happens, happens. During the NSAS protest, for example, young people I work with young people were asking, what is the position of the church? We are confused. Should we do it or should we not do it? Should we keep quiet or should we act? The question they were asking is, what is the church's position on social justice? That was the major question. So the church needs to begin to come in and be part of what is happening in the system. And this is not only in a negative sense. Whenever the government does right, the church should come out and say, we are happy with this government because of this step. So when the government makes laws that are good, when the government punishes evil and rewards good, the church also should come out and say, hey, what you did. I just finished reading the books of Second Chronicles and First Chronicles and Second Chronicles. There is a commentary that is always said. It will always be said that just like his father, there was an acknowledgement. The church should acknowledge, you did well in this area. We are so proud of you. And I am not referring to any particular church, but the Christian body has to be involved in the leadership of our nation. Yeah. We should not be aloof. So the last one is the government, the institution of government. And I don't want to talk about everything, but I want to talk about education. And this suggestion that I want to give is kind of not conventional. Our curriculum is messed up. For me, I would suggest that the Ministry of Education in our country should formulate a curriculum that will foster national growth and embark on a longitudinal research. A longitudinal research that will invite parents to sign up for this new education system. And parents that sign up should be parents that have infants. And these parents will be trained on how to use this curriculum, including teaching issues of patriotism and the other arts and humanities and science, all of those. And schools should sign up for that program and sign a bond to carry out this curriculum and this program to the latest, violation of which will result to whatever revocation of the license. And let our nation conduct a study with these families that have signed up and see how these children turn out. Then we can decide that this is the new way in the next 50, 100 years that we want to raise children in Nigeria. Because, like I said, I am afraid that for us to change this nation, we have to replace the people. And how do we replace the people? Let's start with children. And then believers should not stop praying. That's the last thing. Prayer is not a passive activity. I believe that our nation would have been worse without prayers. Yeah. I believe that if Christians were not praying, people would have already taken arms against each other. The violence that we see now would have been small, would have not been anything. We will keep praying. I will keep praying. And I have chosen not to be anxious, but to pray. We, like you said, we just moved here a few weeks ago. We still deal with fear. Sometimes when the wind blows and our door moves, we are afraid that somebody is coming in. There is a little bush behind our window. Sometimes we feel like somebody will come down from the bush. Sometimes we find ourselves pulling down the blinds and closing the window. One time we were talking and the word kidnapper came up. Our daughter dropped her spoon. She dropped her spoon. She said, "What did you say?" So we will not stop praying for Nigeria. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Cephas. Man, you have raised a lot of points there. I mean, that major point that you have made about moral corruption in our nation, it's a point that I believe our viewers and any other person who is a Nigerian citizen should be able to take note of. And that point that you have made has cut across religions, because the reality is that, you talk about the moral laws of God, right, that is given. Now every human being has a conscience, right, and we should be able to know the right and the wrong, and should be able to desire to do the right and leave the wrong, and so truly, I mean, we have seen that as a big problem. Morally, there is so much corruption that people rise against their fellow citizens, and they don't have value for human life, and kill. And then I appreciate you just touching different institutions, the institution of a family as an institution, and then you actually talked about the church as an institution, and then the government as an institution. All of these institutions have their own part to play to make Nigeria a better country. We have our own part to play in the democratic system of our nation. We have our own part to play in the economic of our nation. We have our own part to play in the development of our nation, and even the citizens. We have a part to play in investing for the younger generation, because they are the future of Nigeria, and this is something that we don't have to miss. We have to hold it. I mean, when you were talking about moral corruption, and a lot of the issues that you have raised are issues that has to do with ethics, right? And hey, I was just imagining here in the U.S. I mean, you see churches and denominations having what they call ethics commission, but we don't seem to have a separate commission that we will have some of our ethicists be involved in, writing stuff and responding to issues that are related to our context. Now, I'm not sure I've seen that happen. Now, here, like, let me give an instance. Like the Southern Baptist Convention have the Ethics and the Liberty Commission, right? And Religious Liberty Commission. Now, and they have a president who runs that, right? And so his basic work is dealing with public matters, right? As well as even church-related matters. I mean, I would say primarily church-related matters, as well as the public, because the church has a part to play in the transformation and the restructuring of our nation. So are we responding? Is the church proactive? Is the church responding appropriately, biblically, without watering down the meaning of the scripture to the issues that we are encountering in our nation today? Do we have a voice? Can we have an article written or response to what the government is saying about certain issues that the church is not comfortable with, certain issues that are unbiblical, certain issues that do not have theological base, certain issues that could be factors to moral corruption, right? Is the church responding to some of these things? I think that ECWA as a denomination should be thinking towards that direction, and we have the Nigerian Baptist Convention. They should be thinking towards that direction to come up with some type of a commission, not to wait for the government commission that will respond to things, but that the church should be proactive in responding to COVID-19, responding to crisis, responding to Fulani militias, responding to Boko Haram, responding to the issues of curriculum, when just like you have mentioned about the curriculum of education in our nation. The church has that mandate. to make a difference. And we need that church. Because a lot of the points you have raised, my brother, the issue of moral corruption is something that cuts across culture, religion. But you cited Romans chapter 12, which is an excellent text that we can call upon all Christians, right? That we would have to set a pace and then set a standard to be the light that we need to be. That some of the don'ts that we will observe them, some of the bad things that we would observe them, that we will not break the laws. That as we do that, then we would serve as an example to others. But the point is that, are we doing it? That even members of the church, those who call themselves Christians, who find themselves in government today, do they live according to that standard that is required of them as Christians? Now, these are things we have to mention. These are things we have to talk about. And I'm so glad, my brother Kephas, for raising some of these points. And I hope that our viewers out there.
Let me just add something.
Yeah.
I think I strongly support the suggestion to set up a commission, which is something I think for example, our denomination can do. But I have to also say that our president and even our general secretary, they have been active in bringing out statements, regarding the events happening in our nation. Like as individuals and in their capacity as denominational leaders, they have always, right from the NSAS protest up till this point as we're talking. For example, the ECWA president, who speaks for the rest of the ECWA community and the ECWA leadership, including our trustees, has always brought out statements and has challenged the government on some of these things. Yeah. But hey, how big is ECWA compared to the population of Christians in Nigeria? How big is ECWA? ECWA it's a portion. It's sizable, but it's just a portion. So imagine that the rest of the system comes together to speak about some of those things. Yeah. But I put my voice behind yours to actually also say that we need a commission like that. And I think it's a recommend. And I'll challenge you, Yabo, that you should write a memo to the ECWA executive for that commission to be set.
I hear you. I hope one of them is listening, my brother. All right. Hey, let's turn to Ali because he's been hanging there. I know that his mind is filled up already with so many things. All right, Ali. Hey, we've been talking. Come on in and share your views. What are some of your prayers? What are some of your wishes? And then you will be our last speaker for today, and then we would just finalize that.
Yeah, I think as I said in one of the conversations we had on this platform a week ago, the major question that Nigeria as a nation is asking is an existential question. Until that answer is fully defined, there are a lot of things that will not go straight. When you read over the editorials in the Nigerian newspapers as they celebrate or as we celebrate the Independence Day today, the narrative most of them are conveying is how do we remain as a one Nigeria? So as a nation, there's an existential question. Do we really exist as a nation? Or are we just an ideology? So this is a big question that needs to be answered, because that question determines what people value in terms of nation development and values orientation as a nation. One of the editorials I read, he is raising an issue that, just imagine, 2023 election is by the corner. But what is setting the agenda of the election is not ideology, it's not what the next president is going to offer to us. But the agenda is the location, geographical location of the president. So this is our problem. This whole idea of geographical ideology and all the ethnic stuff, Cephas and some of the speakers who have gone raised, is eating us deep. Nations who have gone far in democratic conversation. This is 2021. And if we are discussing about who is going to be the next president, I think it's about rolling out manifestos that are real and practical. You see leaders, just this week, some group in Middle Belt are saying no negotiation. All the political parties must make sure the president comes from Middle Belt. It's not what he's going to offer. The same thing people from Southeast will say it has to be Southeast. When you come to North, now North Central and Northeast are bargaining. Who takes the president? And one of the things I was reading is saying we are not going to accept any position apart from the president, according to the Middle Belt discussion. So we are not talking about a president who is going to restore peace in the nation. We are not talking about a president who is going to boost our economy. Our economy is just, dying. And no one is talking about that as agenda to the next president. But the agenda is where is he coming from? When you watch all over the televisions today, as far as 2023 presidential election is concerned, you see the whole idea is where is he coming from? So, affirming what Cephas have said and all the things you said as far as the way forward is concerned, I think, for me, there is need for memorandum in Nigeria that will help redefine where we are really heading to. Because if we just keep beating here and there from the way things are going, I don't think we are making a headway. So the need for referendum is very, very important. We need to redefine our political terrain. Is our politics going to be defined by geographical location or by political ideology, developmental ideology? So even as we celebrate 61 independence, it bleeds, my heart bleeds when I read newspapers and I see the conversation is where people are coming from, not what they can offer. Yeah, definitely the church has a role to play. Jesus said, we are the salt of the earth and we are the light of the earth. So we have a responsibility to preserve the nation, to add value to that nation. And the question still remains, how do we do that? Even if our denominational heads meet together and make statements, will that change situations? When we have people, as Cephas said, who are at the corridor of power, who profess to be Christians, but deep inside them, they do not have the conviction we are talking about. So we really need the Wilberforce of Nigeria, who will be willing to champion bill that has to do with the livelihood of human being, not my zone, not my tribe, not my ethnicity, but rather the personhood of people. So we need those kind of people who will sit there as politicians. Not politicians who, because they have stolen money, they are afraid their secret will be leaked, as Cephas said, then they'll move to the party in power so that their mess will be covered. So, commission is good, very good, but I think beyond that, we need to be deliberate in grooming people who cherish excellence, who cherish integrity. Of course, these are words that have become cliche in moving forward in Nigeria.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Very unfortunate. So when you talk about people of integrity, it's the same rhythm. It doesn't today. The word integrity in Nigeria has no meaning.
Yeah.
Because somebody who you term as a person of integrity, all you need is to just send a journalist to do a close investigation of that person's life. You know, it baffles me. I was reading the press release of our president. He was busy accusing the media that their reportage is just trying to cover remarks that instigate violence. You know, and he said he's a person who talks about freedom of speech. So in this platform, if you begin to do a serious x-ray of the guys in power, the next thing you will see, they will start hunting you.
That's right. That's right.
So I don't know if our media cannot hold our journalists or our political leaders accountable. Which system then do we have as citizens that will hold our leaders accountable? I don't think we have one. In this country, it's the media that put leaders on their toes to speak out. They squeeze them with questions to know what they are thinking. Even when they are not willing to say what they are thinking, they have read their mind and they throw a question for them in public. It's either they answer the question right, or if they don't answer the question, then the journalists will translate their answer. So they have to speak out so that they'll be able to defend themselves. So our problem, I will still maintain we have an existential question at hand. Existing as a nation, of course, which has escalated to existence as a human being in Nigeria, as a northerner, as a southerner, as a middle belter. There are places you cannot go, you know, in Nigeria. If your accent try to sell you there, you're in trouble. So I've affirmed what Sifra said on family responsibility, the government responsibility, and of course the church responsibility. Beyond the denominational head speech, which sometimes I term as a political speech from denominational heads, we really need to be deliberate about raising people. And I think as a church, we have a right, you know, to say, okay, when someone is representing us and then he is not doing what we expect that person to do, the church should have a procedure of calling that person home, sit with the person, and discuss with the person.
Yeah.
So I think we are all, you know, culprit in this whole quagmire. And I just pray, as you said earlier, we need to go back to the drawing board and see how do we really deal with this situation. We younger generations, we need to look at this issue. Do we still want to move ahead as the olden days, or do we want to rewrite the history of our country? I was reading the NADECO first, you know, October speech, and their argument is that the Constitution of Nigeria is a trap to the Nigerian citizens. So they are saying there is need for a rewriting of the Nigerian Constitution. And the big guys in Nigeria are afraid to hear that kind of analysis because the Constitution somehow favors some kind of people. So if we are to live as a nation, of course, we need to come to a memorandum and agree, okay, this is how we are going to live as a nation. This is how we will, the public arena will intersect with religion. This should be our educational values. This is how we focus on our economic development. So let me round up as in a Christian worldview perspective. Of course, I said earlier, the suppression of truth is the key. So coming from Christian worldview, we cannot do nothing less than to stand by the truth. And the truth, of course, we know is Jesus Christ. We have to follow the model of Christ for us to be able to achieve that. I think let me stop here for the sake of time.
All right, thank you so much, my brother. You know, the truth is that we, I mean, like you mentioned, whether we like it or not, yeah, there is that question of existential, threat, and there is that existential question that we are still struggling with. We definitely have to answer it, right? We have to provide an answer to that. And you know, the reality is that we need people who have that country at heart. We need people who love Nigeria as a nation. We need leaders who are selfless. We don't want selfish leaders. We don't want self-centered leaders. We don't want leaders who would promote institutionalized mediocrity. Institutionalized mediocrity in the sense that because they are there, they want to bring everybody in their village, whether or not he knows what to do, to occupy certain sensitive offices. No, we need leaders who would love that nation and rescue that nation and bring the qualified people. We have people who can run that nation very well. They are all over Nigeria. And that's what we need. We need them, and God helping us. And so, because this discussion is from a Christocentric, I mean, it's from a Christian perspective, you know, I thought of Jesus's words. You know, Jesus loved Jerusalem. And when you look at Jesus's love for Jerusalem, the reality is that, especially in Luke chapter 19, when you go to verse 41, and then read down to verse 44. Now, Jesus said, when he approached the city, he wept. Now, there's a reason why he wept. Because things that are supposed to go the way they are supposed to go are not going in that direction. Things were bad. You remember some of the prophets, his own people, God's people were being attacked and killed. They don't want to listen to them any longer. And so, you know, the text tells us that if you knew, that's what Jesus says, quoting from his word, this day, what will bring peace? But now it is hidden from your eyes. Now, so if the church knows what will bring peace, if Christians who are in a position of leadership or who are in politics knows what will bring peace, and yet they have decided to keep quiet, or they have decided to connive with those who are promoting evil and wickedness in our nation. Now, this is what Jesus said. He said, but now it is hidden from your eyes. Okay? For the days will come on you when your enemies will build a barricade around you, surround you and hem you in on every side. This is kind of like what we are seeing, right? I mean, they said that some of these herdsmen are coming from outside the nation. But these so-called herdsmen that are coming from outside the nation are coming and are killing people, maiming people, you know, looting and taking over. This is what we are seeing. All right? Barricade around you, surround you and hem you in on every side. They will crush you and your children among you to the ground, and then they will not leave one stone on another in the midst, because you did not recognize the time when God visited you. Well, I mean, this is a very touching statement that is made by Jesus because of his love for Jerusalem. He wants to see Jerusalem prosperous, and just as us here, we want to see Nigeria prosper. We want to see Nigeria known for good. We want to see things change in our nation. And thank you guys. And I tell you, your words, the points that you have raised will speak volume. I believe that. Just give it time. It will speak volume. And I pray that our viewers, and wherever this video will go, or I mean wherever or whoever that will listen to it, I just pray that we will begin somewhere. Let's begin little. Let's not despise those days of little beginnings. Even when things go bad, let's start somewhere and make change. Let us be change. Let us speak change. Let us promote change. And let us live for it. Thank you so much, Cephas. Thank you, Ali, and our brother Isaac, who has actually left already, and Jerry Swamp City. We appreciate you guys. Thank you for just voicing out. And hey, viewers, thank you so much for hanging out there with us. Well, Well, the Lord bless you, and hope to come your way again. Hey, guys, I'll see you later. All right. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Yeah. All right.